And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time again for a huge game. It's Vitality versus BDS. And it's a big derby here for the French scene. This is Olympique Lyon versus Marseille. This is going to be the big one, OLOM, at the end of the day.
Oh, I could do French too, baguette croissant. What else is
the hand signals?
Mamma mia, por favore.
No, I can do Italian, but I don't know what
Basilico. This is French, by the way.
Yes, I only know baguette and croissant, and there's a couple other words.
Jambon. I know that one.
What is that?
Ham.
Ham?
Ham, yeah. Is
Go
that how you say it?
ham.
Hamon.
No, that's in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Spanish.
Oh, we're doing Spanish as well.
I don't know. It's all Romance languages, and there's a lot of romance between these two teams here, BDS and Vitality. At least I am told. That's something to explore
you got some
on the
rumors
sidelines.
going on. Woo!
So how about we have a chat about these two, starting off with Vitality, the team that could not make it to the Mexico Major by only an inch. Jess, what is there to look at for this team? Because, man, we've been saying, oh, time will tell. All they need is time. Come on, man.
I know what you're saying, and I know that we've now given them a whole stage and we've given them an off season because they didn't go to the Mexico Major. So we can be pretty certain that after this amount of time, with the support staff that's behind them, we are confident that we've almost given them enough time. I would even guesstimate that by the end of the year, if they come into stage 1 of next year, or even if they make Invitational, November Major is still a possibility as well, that if we don't see something from them by then, there's a big problem. So now this stage is probably like the foundation is completely being laid, and I will get a good guesstimation as to whether or not their strategies, of which I think are some of the most well-rounded in the entire league, are working. The coordination, communication is there. Now is the time to see it. I do think they actually would have performed quite well on LAN if there was no nerves. So I think their strategies are international class. I don't know if they could have undertaken them with the nerves that LAN can bring you, but I definitely think they're up there internationally.
BDS on the other side, Fresh.
BDS are a roster that they are just absolutely sensational across the board. I've done this many times when I've faced against BDS, and you think, oh, I can beat them. I can create this counter strategy. And I remember it. Stage 2, first game of Stage 2 last year, Chaos against BDS. We took them to Oregon. We did some very exotic setups, completely designed to counter
tower hold.
BDS, the small tower hold, all sorts of stuff. And they find a way to win. They're winners.
Yeah.
And obviously they had a very deep run at the Major. They played that, what we said was the final and the semi-finals. They came up slightly just short to an Empire on the day, which is absolutely no disrespect. And they are one of the best teams in the world, without a shadow of a doubt.
Without a doubt.
No
this is like such a... Mind you, every time we say this about BDS, that they are the best team in the league, they have a kryptonite, and it is French teams. That is without a doubt. We've always said that the one team that always manages to just get in behind them and be able to work out what it is that is their weakness, it has been Vitality before, and it has been other French teams. So if there is one team here on Playday 1 that could probably do it to BDS, probably Vitality.
It was heroic to do it to them in our last stage as well, even in the French nationals. So there's a lot to look into there. But I am curious which map we'll be playing on in this series. So Vitality versus BDS.
Triple?
Show me. I certainly hope so.
It
will be close to the repeat of Opening Day Cafe when it was reintroduced, where we had all cafes. We don't have that today, fortunately, because of the first map being Chalet. So let's see. Come on, map bands. Is this UL or not? Let's go. 7, 6 down, 1 to go, and it is bank again.
It's a triple, baby.
BDS will remove Oregon, and they'll leave us with bank, where they start on the attacking side.
Which is good for them.
Good for them, but okay.
That is good for them, actually.
Yeah?
Why? Because we've seen Bank. The previous 2 games have been reasonably attacker-sided. Navi, they went, what was it, 4-2? And the previous
the same as the first map,
although Doki obviously had a big part to play in that, but. Yeah, I think BDS have done very well out of that map ban, and I wonder whether Vitality were expecting Oregon, and BDS have just pulled it out there and gone, let's go Bank.
I think so too.
I faced BDS on Bank. They are a very formidable Bank team. We said it plays out a similar way. They used to be very, very good on this map.
Yeah. No, and again, no matter what I go back on, the only thing I can talk about right now is possible compositions on the map, possible bans via these teams. And I think Habana bans or a hard breach ban are a must on Bank. It was same back in the day. You always took the risk of having less hard breaches so you could really get rid of the Habana or the Thermite. Some teams took risks and got rid of both, and you really had no redundancy. So for me, it's got to be the hard breach ban, and then you get a little bit of the pick of the draw depending whoever doesn't ban the hard breach. And on defense, why is Mirror getting through? That's going to be my big analysis point probably in the next Playday. How is Mirror consistently getting through? Back when Bank used to be in, it was a must ban on the map because it was ridiculously difficult to get into server and do a default plant. We saw that in the last match. So, I mean, if she gets through again against a team like BDS and a team like Vitality, both who have great Mirror players,
Doki actually made a really interesting point in the interview about the Hibana ban, and I think this is why we will see a Hibana ban, and we probably will see it in all of Bank. Hibana can open up all 4 hatches, providing Cade isn't in play.
Yeah.
And for a basement hold on the defense, you just cannot live with that. You cannot commit the resources to all of those hatches.
Old Bank, you couldn't do that.
Old
I mean,
Bank,
obviously, because
of the Hibana changes, and you probably wouldn't want to on Old Bank as well.
Yeah.
Now, if you could open up all 4 hatches, you give yourself a really good chance as attackers.
A lot to work out then. Fresh Jess, thank you very much to BDS versus Vitality. It's our big French derby, so let's see how it all go down on Bank. And to cast it for their second time today, it's of course our good friends of Hap and M. Take it away.
Thank you, Milosh. And indeed, we are heading to Bank yet once more. I just want to quickly say sorry to all Jesser followers for being known by me, but hashtag Jess. Either way, Emmy, we're getting into it again as I'm getting the desk there from our lovely colleague. What do you think?
I think, first of all, that Jess should be thankful that it wasn't anyone else that was there, because you just gnomed people. Who knows?
See, Medix was talking about just changing her tag, so it could
oh my god, she would lose her verified. See, okay, on the list of people, if you ever, I don't know why this would happen, but if you ever accidentally have left yourself logged in near all of the EMEA talent team, Hap is probably the best one to find it, and at the bottom of the list is Easy and Medix as being the most villainous. And to be honest, I think Jess is down there as well. I think Jess...
You think Jess would just delete your Twitter
account? I mean, we've all seen Jess vote.
That's true. Very true.
We all know what that's like.
Should we just blame Jess vote so there's no blame to be given to Jess Go?
We could actually. Yeah, let's just frame Jess vote. Hey, what's up? We're back in Bank.
Hey, you know Hibana Ben?
It's been...
So what Jess just said about seeing Hibana all over every Bank ever is gone.
I mean, she's made a fool's gambit. She's made a deal with a Sicilian. She's realized that you never say an absolute because absolutes get proven wrong. That is the joy and the irony of this earth. And that is what we've seen. There is Hibana on the board. She has potential. I guess now we get to see some of the potential, because potential is only what you're talked about until you see it in action. It's energy, and then it's exploded.
All right. Locker CCTV, the first site we're heading to, and we've seen it so many times before today. Sometimes it fell into the favors of the attackers, sometimes it went to the defenders. It's yet another game, it's yet another 2 new teams. BDS and Vitality getting out of their hibernation, you can almost say, to head into, well, not really that much for BDS, of course, we're at the Mexico Major, but a bit of a break. Getting back into Stage 3, back online as well. So a lot of getting used to. There's Vitality starting off on that defense. That's going to be the question. How many of these hatches are they going to close? Are they going to be extending maybe even to that top floor? It's something we've seen before. I mean, the rotations are already there. Bibu's reinforcing the teller's wall. So there's definitely going to be opportunities to arise for Vitality. Seen it before as well in the G2 game. Just go all the way to the top floor and try and fall back bit by bit. Doesn't always seem to be working out. But he might. And he, you know, a bit of a fine-tuned strategy.
Now, as we obviously get a bit of a full stretch and a taste, this is one of those things where you wait for a bus and 3 banks will show up at the same time, and it gives you that plethora of information. It gives you all this different details, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fun stat going over later this evening to sort of really get a true taste, because there's talking about a game as it's in action, there's analysing each game afterwards, but only really when you get the chance to sort of take a step back and really put data on the page, you get a true idea of where these entrances are. Are all of these teams going for these sort of looser holds, and is Hibana now in the hands of Rafal going to be that potential strike force that might mark I guess in a way Jess correct, and why those previous games were so cautious with the use of Hibana on this map. Can they prove a lesson here? P4 wants to do one, and it's don't open that door, Alems, I'm here.
P4 just doing the P4 things here. Has a bit of support, of course, in stock as well, so Alems was basically destined to die. Those drones are being taken out, and now just a question here from Renchiro. How far can I go? Am I going to be challenging this, or do I leave it be? 2 players currently on that top floor. Of course, not both of their positions will be known due to the lack of drones to come in. P4 took care of that. Also still some Mozzie pests around, but Rafal manages to successfully maneuver himself around it.
There goes Shaiko with a bit of a revenge, a player on a burn who, I guess if you're Vitality, you're hoping he isn't able to catch fire here and try and take his way through all of the money in the vault and make a speedy exit. Almost caught the end of a second body there and has an idea that somebody's playing on that side. Doesn't really want to move too dangerously. There's the reveal, and it's someone with a gun, and that's going to give a bit of a call to the bodies moving above, as you see, but suffered. Rise goes for a bit of a scratch there, and it turns into a bit of a blow. Renshiro has the lockdown from the top of the square. They've made their way in, and there's still one more body on the top floor to deal with, though.
Yeah, but there's still not a floor they need to deal with completely as well, so there's still going to be a roamer all the way on the top floor. I believe it's P4 indeed, sitting inside of the Executor's launch. Might be coming in quite big as soon as Renchiro tries to rotate down or create some more of these rotations. There you go, he's been activated. Slowly trying to make his way over. Another injury comes through. Shinka goes down. P4 wants to try and go and help his buddy. The grenade will be confirming the kill. Now, he's still in a good position to go for a flank, but it's a 2-4 situation now.
Well, there's the spray around. There goes Rafal. The Hibana has been able to do some of the damage, but that will give the game away that one of the 2 is still on the second story, and that might force them to drive a bit more direct towards the site because there's only 20 seconds left. Briday's going to try and stick the plant. They have a bit of a cover. I'm assuming all the Echo drones are gone at this point, and that's why he's trying to get in close and personal. Drop Shaiko, but the diffuser goes down too. There's a quick swing as P4 found his way back round, and suddenly that has flipped. Where the remaining body is the game that they're trying to play. The cover on the diffuser plant is going to come through. The Buck makes an entrance, but it's a quick exit to a quad for P4, and it's an opener for Vitality.
P4 really coming in flying in this first round here, able to pick up 4 of these kills in quick succession. Round number 1 will be Vitality's, even though it might have seemed like BDS had the upper hand. It wasn't 2-4, but the lack of information on that top floor allowed P4 to just quickly dance around the defenses, or rather the offense that BDS was mounting, and managed to pick up a couple of the kills as well. Buck, of course, opening up with the skeleton key, made his position known, and well, you don't need to tell P4 twice before he just quickly sends some shots your way. Now Teller's Archives, the next site to come through. What we have seen in the previous games is that a top floor hold seems to be quite effective for this site. A mirror often will be chosen to be played in that case. Vitality, however, chosen to not bring it yet in these 2 rounds. So we'll be using a different form of information gathering due to the Valkyrie up there. So the mute to deny any of the information to be coming in for the attack. So the combination of the 2 should be providing, hopefully for Vitality, give them the advantage in the information game. There's always a question that we need to wait to see answered. Pretty default reinforcements coming up. Hatches are being opened up to provide opportunities to rotate down. The mute jammer will also stop any potential Selmas from opening up that shield, if they would be able to get one on it. Of course, there is going to be no ace on the board. The Hibana is most likely the best heart breacher to use for a map like this, considering the amount of hatches that are on the board and the amount of reinforced walls that you can just creatively play with. Aggression is definitely there from Vitality, just holding close. Open area towards the windows. So Rafal quickly putting up 2 shots, but won't be able to get far.
Yeah, there's the lockdown from the shotgun of Shinka to make sure that they don't get those big angles into open. Becomes a little bit more of a difficult push here as BDS go on a bit of a stretch all across the boards that Bank offers. Trying to see if they can get some of the angles in from above, first of all. Concerned about that big roam play that we saw played previously, but here it seems like a much more of a width to a tall hold that would otherwise have been ran before. The cameras are going to give a bit of the game away. Obviously, Pulse is off the board by choice of Vitality, but they can still play against those verticalities, which, to be fair, Bank offers a plum. It's just having the wherewithal to link up the C4 to the throw at the same time. Shinka's, I believe, is pre-placed, though, where it is. Not too sure, and I guess it'll be a moment where we'll see if it's success or failure.
Just being opened up, just a preparation work being done here by BDS. Information being given out by the camera. They know some people are upstairs trying to get the exact locations as the Buck of Ranchero is opening up steadily. Just a singular C4 left right now and Rise in the pocket. And able to be tossed up at will. Have to find a perfect opportunity to do so. Shaiko with the kill to Shinka. That is going to be a very big entry here for BDS. In the middle of the site, but most of the players of Vitality, of course, playing near that site.
That's 2 for 2 in grenades, and there's 1 for 1 and a bit of those C4s. Obviously, there was a pre-place from Shinka we won't get to see, but we do get to see the active play against that Buck. It causes more destruction on that hold above. They did some of the work they needed to, but at the same time, there's still a lot more work left to do. Rise has fallen back. They're aware that somebody's trying to creep their way down from the top of the stair set, but otherwise Rafal has pulled back to the hold above. P4, he's still doing the bits he did previously as they lock down some of the control, and I believe that is the wall connecting the site towards the reception desk and the desk area that's been opened. Either way, Rafal wants to see if they can flush one more body out.
Flashbangs going in, trying to blind the man that is playing right behind the desk and hoping to find a bit of a vertical up here as well. Might just be able to spot him out. There you go. B4 goes down. It's a huge pick. Brings it back to a 3-on-3. But look at the time. There's only 15 seconds left right now. Lem's getting the smokes in. Is going to be trying to go for a bit of a plan, but the bulletproof Ken will be giving away the game for just a little bit. It's a 2-on-3. Bibu will be able to bring it back to a 2-on-2, but 1 man is currently on the defuse. The flank comes in around. Cactus is missing the shots, however, and that brings it only up to Bibu.
Cactus was so close to swinging that around, and now it's a 2 versus 1. Bibu, with the slow creep around the lobby, is going to see if he can get just a read on one of them. That, however, will mark the end of it. The beep has had to be passed through, and Shako was already looking the right way. It just sort of gave a bit of ceremony to the final kill there. Picked up, locked off, 1 apiece.
1 round apiece, indeed. Even though there was little time left for BDS, they managed to get the plan down. The cover was there as well. The DCSG would have been a little bit more to the down and to the left. It would have been an instant headshot on a man that was planting. That round would have been going the complete other way. Top floor. That's where we head next. Executive Lounge and CEO office. The Clash and the Thunderbird seeming to be brought, but we never know. They have it. One of the 6 picks coming in. Valkyrie. So extra information. Not really wanting to play with the Clash. Could be a little bit of a bait, of course. For some utility out, which will be used to deal with the Clash. Or at least the fear that it could be there. It's going to be interesting to see where the Kona stations will be used. Of course, a new gadget we haven't seen all too much of as of yet. Gives you a bunch of extra HP on recharge, of course. Not instantly, it takes a while before the Kona station is charged. Then if you get in range, you should see right now, oh, actually, Shinka just outside of the range, but might be able to to fall into that. You see the Kona station is just following the person that's nearest. I think it's kind of cute when
it is.
The station just follows the
eyes on it.
Yeah. Oh, that
Elite Skin Thunderbird, googly eyes on it. And a little smiley face. Oh no, Rise has crashed. I'm not quite sure what the precedent is for this, and I guess neither are they with the question marks, but we'll keep casting until we get a call from the controls, I believe. Yep, it's a confirmed rehost, so we will be back in on the start of this round. If you're new to this, they have to all choose the same operators, the same site, the same everything else, because it was already sort of in play, but there's a little bit of team killing there.
Of course there will be.
Yes, of course. In
the meantime, we are back on the screen. Hello. It's good to see you all again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are back on the screen.
I don't have program feed.
I don't have program feed.
I
have program feed. You have in-game feed. So it's like, I couldn't see the team killing. I could hear it, though. So, yeah, just having a bit of fun before that rehost gets going. And, you know, when everybody's back into the lobby because of the crash that Rise was having, we're just getting back into it at the 1-1 point. So, nothing too big. There's also not too much to talk about as of yet. So, we're just gonna, you know, have to wait it out for now. See the BDS players there, quite calm about it.
Yeah, I think it's this sort of level of calm. It's early doors in this game. And, for all the predictions and for everything that goes wrong, BDS, they're a tough team to beat. They are often, as we've called them, the sort of bar that you have to get over in EUL because they're consistent. And that's the thing that the EU League has often suffered with. However, one of the consistent things about them is the games that they struggle most with are against their countryfolk, or against the counterparts that they play a lot. Vitality are a team that has very often been able to beat them or push them to the brink and have these huge elongated games. They're a team that's getting stronger and stronger at the same time. So for a lot of people, the expectations here of Vitality are kind of, for some people, the favourites. It's just set up well for them to play up against BDS. Not sure what it is about them when they go in these French derbies, but it's some of the weaker times we see BDS. I think Shaiko showing up early is a very good sign for them, though.
It definitely is. It's something we often say, like, if Shaiko is missing, it is like the, less so now than it used to be in the past. But if Shaiko wasn't showing up, then there was definitely some issues going around with BDS. Now, that has changed ever since Alems and Playday have joined. Those have really managed to bring the team to greater heights as to where they managed to consistently end in the top 4 and even go up very, very high and far into the 6 Mexico major we've had. Of course, wanting to re-qualify for the 6th Invitational, which will be, of course, start of next year, hopefully February, as it usually is.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I'm just going to quickly check what they exactly need to be qualified for that, because I don't think they need much. Yeah, so they are qualified.
All right, they definitely don't need much then.
8th place or higher.
Oh.
No, I wasn't done yet.
8th or higher.
Yeah, and if they get 9th or 10th, they will be on 99.99%. So, there will be a singular opportunity when they're not going to be able to make it, but they should be fine.
Yeah. So the chance of them not making it is like 0.02% or something.
0.01 actually. So it's a
zero. So it's even less.
Yeah, it's a very small chance that they will not make it to the sixth invitational. But there is an opportunity. You all know the meme where the one opportunity, the one.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, you're saying there's a chance. Well, there is a chance. This time BDS don't want that one.
They don't want the chance.
The famous
and to be fair, I think it would be one of the biggest surprises, I think, out of anything. But hey, see, you just made of it. Hey, look at this. Same operators, as I said, same site. We'll see if they can dig in. Because I have the game feed. Who's observing for us? Is it Easy or Medics?
I think if it's Medics, he will do a spin.
5 seconds left before insertion.
It's Easy.
Aha, it is Stefan. There you go.
What's Stefan's spin? Does he have a nod? Does he have a...
No, he has observed by Easy.
He goes all the way out. Okay. Yeah, well, I don't have the program feed. Either way, because I don't have the program feed, I got to watch him setting everything up, and I didn't want to say it at the time. You don't really always get to see that, because I don't want to make him make a mistake. But it's very quick. Quick hands. Our observers.
Definitely so.
Kudos to our observers.
Wait, what do you say?
I know that...
next to our observers?
I said kudos.
Oh, kudos. I was going to say next to our observers. That's probably production, I would assume. But either way, I misunderstood that. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's my bad. But we're in round 3 now. We're back underway. The one thing is...
Oh.
We will see. Either way, they are allowed to change their setup. That is something that is allowed even after the rehost. They're just not allowed to change the operators. They need to change, go same site, same operators, but the setup can vary. So you can put the alibis on a different place. You can reinforce different places. Just make sure that you have the same utility, the same weapons, all that kind of stuff available to you.
Now, as they see if they can try and find their way in onto the top of square, they're looking for a little bit of control from the opposite side and hoping, I guess, that maybe there's a chance of a run out, maybe there's a chance of somebody watching from inside on the lobby, but it's pretty concertedly watched from all general angles. 3 bodies. that are playing on that rappel means you kind of have to be a bit safe about it, because one swing could net a lot of profit, but otherwise the bodies inside the site are still locked in. And with 2 minutes pretty much gone, now it's just a matter of BDS. Can they have the confidence to try and get it on the swing? Alems starts it off as the wall on the top of square pops two. Renshiro gets one more, and the cover is blown and open. Rise suffers next, with the Renshiro and Alems both taking a lot of the firefights that they did. It's not going to be the biggest swing to try and take care of them, but with the walls open, it's a dangerous return to site.
A dangerous one, low HP as well. And Rise is, there you go, P4 just sneaking in, spots a player, manages to get the kill, but gets traded out straight away. Shaiko goes for the second one as well. Beautiful shots to come through. Shiro with the final one actually from the rappel up into the janitor. Just spotted a little bit of a pixel, went for the pre-fire and manages to land it. The rehost call is going to be called yet again by both Alems and Shaiko, as the HUD bug, of course, it's different. You just cannot see your teammates. It is difficult.
Yeah.
You don't see pings, you don't see runouts. It's an unfortunate thing, which I understand is quite annoying to play with, though it's totally understandable that we're going into that. Either way, it is going to be BDS in the lead, and, well, that is something they are quite used to. They just need to make sure that they don't stumble again against Vitality, because that's kind of how they started off last stage as well.
So this shouldn't be too long, as long as the other one are just going to disconnect and reconnect, and hopefully that'll get things sorted. And we'll be back in with this game as we go on. It's, if you're unaware, as Hap said, it's just the UI bug that's happening at the minute that hopefully will get sorted soon. It also affects the observers, and kudos to them, because I could struggle to observe this game at the best of times with every single bit of help, and yet
we did it actually back at the Allied.
We did, yes.
Allied.
Once upon a time in Hamburg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
memories.
It was a long night.
It was a very, very long night with old Sterney. But hopefully we don't have a long night ahead of us here. Hopefully these tech problems are sorted and smoothed out so we can enjoy some more bank. If you have somehow been entirely sleeping under a rock that is shaped like a pair of sunglasses that don't let you read anything about Siege Comp updates. Hey, Banks and Siege Comp now. That was a really long setup.
I was going to say,
for that.
Shaped like sunglasses. I mean, that's...
Yeah, that is... Shh.
Okay.
Banks in.
Yes, Banks
and we've seen it twice. We've had 2 games of Bank already. It hadn't been seen in any of the region played so far, so NAL or the APAC 2 region splits. Has LATAM started up again?
Not yet.
Yeah?
This weekend.
Or are we yet to...
This weekend.
This weekend.
I think. Or maybe the next.
So hopefully we do. I loved Bank in the Latin American region. What a fun map that was to watch.
It's definitely fun. And like when you heard Bank, the first thing you thought of course, was LATAM for a very long time. So, yeah.
If you missed Latin America playing Bank, you got to watch it this weekend. Just hope that you see it a lot. It's great to see in any region, but you know how often
we
you'll
haven't
associate
seen
a
it
region.
in 2 Playdays of NAL, then we didn't see it in APEC North, we didn't see it in APEC South, and I've seen it 3 times here in EUL. Potentially a 4th one to come up. So for now, EUL is definitely the one that loves Bank the most. So let's see how that will play out.
I could be wrong about this. Sometimes EUL is often the quickest to try new maps. I know we got, when Oregon first came back in, we saw a huge amount of... That is exactly it. So that's my point, is Chalet we didn't see a huge amount of, but it was very quick in NAL, wasn't it?
NAL was... Chalet was played quite a bit. They're actually super good at the map as well. So like, we heard it at SI first. We were like, okay, if you're playing against an NA team, you probably do not want to play Chalet, because they basically had a 100% win rate on Chalet against any other teams, until they were knocked out of the tournament by LATAM, of course. That was the moment when it all shifted. But it was a true NA map in that case. Now, we are playing a lot of Bank now. Will this be the new EU map? Like, Consulate left. We had quite a bunch of teams that loved to play Consulate. I think at G2.
They did.
Empire, I believe, as well. They like that map.
Empire. BDS,
Vitality
any UK
as
team
well. The UK team.
Pretty much any EU.
So we're basically
listing every EU
we have left. Like if we have the UK teams, we have well, maybe Virtus Pro not so much. I think we're coming up to that point where Virtus Pro likes Villa a lot more, for example. But yeah, like, will Bank be the void or fill the void that has been left by Consulate for Europe? Because it's being played a lot now. These teams might be trying to experiment a lot. It's of course early in the stage. You can make some mistakes now. You can still make up for them in the coming days. But you know, you can try your strategies and scrims all you want, but you're never going to be getting the full, you know, test out of it in like a official game where 3 points are actually on the line. But you know what? I'm hearing people joining back, so I'm having the feeling
Opposite.
they're leaving.
I have worse news.
You actually can see, of course.
I can see it, yeah. It's another full rehost.
Oh, so we have a rehost after rehost.
A rehost after a rehost. And
you know what? That happens.
I guess the luck had to run out at some point. Because if I'm honest, I heard what our lovely counterparts in NAL, they'd suffered quite a bit, I think, with rehosts and things going wrong. The tech issues happen. They just happen, unfortunately. And it's a lot of filling. And
is this the moment?
I love them all to bits. I'm just going to preface this. I love all of the NA team to bits. But at the same time, when that was happening, I was lying in my bed like, I am so glad this isn't me that has to fill this. Like, you're just like, this is their thing to do. This, and now and we got through an APAC Playday and we got through the start of an EU Playday.
But you know,
but now maybe I've flown too close to the sun.
What do we want to fill with? Should I put up some Siege trivia, or should I put up the rehost riddles that were a big thing back when Jackie and Ace?
I feel like rehost riddles.
It's not our thing. Right? It's like we don't have the copyrights.
No, and I don't think we could ever match
that. No, definitely not. Because
effervescent brilliance.
Because I would have to Google them, and Jackie just makes them up on the spot, which is
Jackie. I think could say something and bring it into fact, like a genie of shenanigans.
Like the entire internet and every record of it just changes after he says it. Like suddenly that's
you know how people have theories that Keanu Reeves, facts that Keanu Reeves is immortal and has lived forever. I think Jackie's similar. I think if you went into like pictures of like the 1700s, you'd see Jackie in the back in a flamboyant shirt throwing riddles out at people. They call him a wizard. I'm just gonna put that's my conspiracy theory. The two is birds aren't real and Jackie is immortal.
I think this is a very solid conspiracy theory. Maybe
this is the things that I post about.
Tim at some point, like he's been close, you know.
Oh, Tim
might
would
be able
answer.
to know. But then again, a lot of people also think that Tim is immortal because he's been around for a long time.
He has. Well, he's just old.
Maybe this is just like some kind of group
a truth about
all like people that are immortal.
A truth about Tim is occasionally, instead of going to an event, if you think you've met Tim, you might not. It might just be the actor Mark Strong. Or it might be Pulse, the physical operator. You might not have really met Tim if it's an autograph. There are ways to tell, but I've got to keep his secrets. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna give
We're
you
almost
one
back
hint.
in. Yeah.
If he does have a ponytail, you might have the real Tim.
It's Tim.
Yeah.
You might have the real Tim.
You might have the real Tim.
You have to tug on it 3 times.
Yeah, and if it doesn't come off by then it's the real Tim.
If it doesn't come off, it's the real Tim. Hey, we're back into the game. We might have sound in a second.
Maybe at some point.
I think they were waiting to make sure that there weren't any bugs before they bring everything back up, so they don't have to keep jumping back and forth and giving you all false hope. Because you never want to give people any hope. As we find ourselves back into the basement, there is the clash in the hands of Bibu. There is slightly different approach to the hold this time round, but if you remember, it came down to a bit of a brazen clutch. P4 got a quad kill that led them into the success on this round.
Yeah, but you cannot keep relying on a quad kill from happening, right? It's like something that really shouldn't happen after... Okay, so realistically, after a singular kill, you should be traded. That is like the theory behind it, right? If you manage to get 2, you did your job more than like you should at that case. If you manage to get 3... Oh, that's insane, and you continue going like that. So, like, you really do not, like, you cannot rely onto a singular player getting more than 4 kills every single round, 4 or more. So in that case, Vitality will definitely have to make sure that that is not going to be what it's coming down to. They have to step up as a team as a whole. So the Clash will be coming out now. That will be securing the stairs, server stairs, which originally were often guarded by a shield, 2 ADSs, an ally with an FO12 shotgun. Now, we have seen today that it is not as viable anymore as before. The ADSs have, of course, changed, just like so many other things, like the extra operators, the extra grenades, just the abilities in general, which will give you multiple new ways to just deal with those staircases. And maybe the Clash is indeed what's necessary. If you're looking at the opportunity, if you're looking at the abilities and utility that are here on the side of BDS, is nothing that on its own could deal with a Clash.
So it's going to take a little bit of that hot teamwork and a little bit more of that guns, and those flashes are instantly burning them through. Look at this pressure, and this is something that we talked about earlier when we saw this push, is burning those ADSs and then running with those grenades. It should have taken care of all of them at the top, which means they don't have to burn that plate yet again. But here comes the rest of the push. Round the backside, they have all of the drones, they have all of the idea and the intel, but they still have Bibu on a Clash that they've got to try and get through. And as you said, they don't really have the best selection of utility to do it. Rise has a bit of the cover and support here with the shotgun, just going to swing around on the top of the corridor and make sure that they don't get too much further round. They have eyes on the hatch, and that's a bit of the game that they're willing to play here, is they're almost hoping someone's going to swing. That's what the drones are for, seeing if they can get a bit more intel, and they don't feel confident. They don't feel calm. They're instead going to put the pressure on the other hatches and hope to pull them away that way.
I just want to say that I think that the Warden pick, together with the Clash right there, is a very strong choice. If the grenades don't kill them, they'll probably try and throw in some flashbangs, and we all know that they have been buffed in this season. Warden, of course, the perfect operator to try and counter that, so really like the choice there that Vitality made. Let's see if in any of these future rounds it will play out and come into fruition. Whereas BDS now deciding to go for a completely different push, it seems like. Dropping into the vault, I believe one already is. And Cactus will go down.
Now as the spray comes around, Shinka gets a bit of revenge, but the Clash has set up a new mantle of hold here into the garage. They're going to actually go deeper. They get themselves a bit isolated, put the pressure onto Alems, and in the meantime a trade happens on the opposite side. Rise sets up the bar on the far angle and gives them an impression, but you've only got a handful of seconds, and Alems still has to try and find a way to wrangle that diffuser around the corner with the Clash doing everything they can. It was the dream team pairing of those two that was the start of this, and now the Warden's been pushed and pressured just off to the other side. Bibu can't quite get the lock in, and Alems is going to try and stick the diffuser in the final seconds. The C4! They went for a really bold play at the end there, but the cover was all in the hands of Shaiko.
Yeah, they had to get through there. They had to make sure that the plant was about to come down, and the Clash, well, went for the SMG9. Hoped to get a kill. Unfortunately, was not able to pick up either of them. Maybe it would have been better to swap back to the shield in that case, but I really like the hold that Vitality tried to go for. Good call, however, from BDS to use these new hatches to go for the attack. It's something we have been prefacing for this map, that these hatches could be providing alternate strategies to attack the site, and well, they worked out straight away here in the first go that BDS tried to go with it. Locker CCTV being brought again, and the Echo will be brought instead of the Maestro, of course, to potentially provide a bit more information, hide it a little bit more. Of course, also the counter defusal, or counter defusal in that case. I'm not quite sure how you would call it in that case, because it's the counter defuse that is being planted that you try and counter. There's a lot of counters up here.
There's a lot of counters. It's too much counting for me. What I will count is changes. Bibu is also a change this time round, and they've, instead of going with that hold of the Clash and the Warden, gone for much more mobility in their information. It's a play and a roam that, to be fair, led to their success in that early game. They still want as much intel as possible, and they also want ways to play around with it. It's sort of entirely, to a level, an intel mess about with lineup here. They obviously have the Mute and the Vigil to sort of delay and disturb the drones that are otherwise going to be coming towards them and potentially waste as much time as possible, and then the three others together, with P4 on that Mozzie kind of balancing and bouncing in between, stealing drones and using them himself. It's a very good play on a map that is so hefty, but if BDS get a sniff, they can really start to pull you apart.
You really can, and you know, one of the strengths of BDS is as well, if you have a really good hold, but there's just one single gap in it, they will just brute force throughout that one gap, and they'll just tear it open. And with that, they'll reach the sides and still achieve their objective. Of course, came short just a little bit against Team Empire in the 6th Major Mexico. But they're definitely on a journey again to make it to the 6th Invitational, to go to the November Major. Maybe finally pick up one of those international crowns, because of course they have won a major, but it was a mini major and it doesn't quite carry the same prestige as a 6th Invitational, for example, or just an international major overall.
Well, Bieber, he wanted to get aggressive here and sprays towards Iana. Shaiko's able to just slink away. They were doing a lot of reconnaissance. They were able to get care of one of the cameras that was inside, but otherwise still hoping that those lockers give them enough cover to go for a little crouch peeks around either side. There it is, though. The first falls. Alems is able to find Shinka from above, a hold that we've seen pretty much had the pressure put on quite a lot. There's a bit of a spray, and Rise almost doesn't quite get the response and revenge, but finds the trade just before, pulls them back themselves. Heavily injured, they know that any other fight they need has to be one where there's somebody else to offer some support if they want some semblance of success. There is that Intel game I talked about before being delayed and disturbed as BDS are trying to pick up the pieces of what's left. A body still on the top floor, and then a couple flirting with the idea of danger on the middle.
P4 trying to go for the kills here, won't be able to land it. Still one-on-one for now. Grenade being tossed down. That could actually land quite close. Nah, will not be able to pick up anybody. Shaiko not able to pick up that kill. Still no, someone is right behind the tellers as there we go. B4 will be taken care of. And Shiro opens up with the skeleton key, unlocks the door and gets the kill. Brings the man advantage here in BDS's favor. Look at, by the way, Rise's HB. About 20 for now. Oh, there we go. BP was going to be able to... Oh no, Shaiko! In the middle of the run, ducks down, managed to get the kill, brings it into a 2-on-4 situation. Now the rest of BDS has the opportunity to collapse, but there's only 20 seconds left. They need to be quick. There's a man in the vault. The rest is coming down onto the main stairs. The no one is in the garage. They're trying to peek, and Shiro gets the last kill. BDS, beautifully played. Little time left, but no panic in their execute.
Really well put together attacks here by BDS. You can see Vitality are trying different things. They're opting for holds and different strategies and trying to build a modicum of what they know. I believe they're taking their time out now to potentially talk about this and see if they can get a little bit more of an idea of how to control the pace, because otherwise things aren't really connecting in the way that they'd hoped. In this early foothold, if they don't get the 4-2 on the split, could spell some pretty problematic things for their attacks.
Yeah, for sure. Still want to get that last final defensive round in. They want to make sure that they end on a 2-4. Every round will count. If not now, it will towards the end of the stage. I don't want to, you know, say anything, but we never thought tiebreakers were possible. And then we had the 6th Major, Team 1 and Cyclops. They got the tiebreaker. It seemed like Cyclops was set to go to playoffs for a very long time. They just needed 3 rounds against Team 1. And they only got 2. And that forces into a tiebreaker, which they then lost. Team 1 proceeded to go on and win the entire tournament. But the point I'm trying to make is that it is possible. It is definitely possible in a game like Siege.
Dreams are there to be dreamed, Hap. Dreams are there to be dreamed.
The timeout has run out. We're soon to get underway again. The operator selection is going on as we speak. And there we go. Heading into the 6th pick now. See if there is going to be any changes to come through. Wouldn't say anything for BDS's side. Maybe, yeah, the Echo. Going out for the Goyo. They're heading to Tellers and Archives. Or Tellers office, rather.
Attackers need to locate and
See how that
The IQ's been pretty consistent here from LM so far as well. It's a response towards the wide information game that Vitality want to play. It's a control of that because, you know, if we're going to talk about some of the things that New Bank offers, and it's obviously our perspective is 100% going to get changed and shaped and warped as we start to see more and more of these top teams across all the regions play this map. You're looking at those big angles of soft floors. We're looking at a lot of 2-story bits of pressure. Similar to how you'll sometimes see teams play against certain parts of Consulate, was where hatches have a good synergy, like the one that's in Janitors all the way down to the basement. And like those sort of setups, you're playing a lot of dangerous games in these verticalities, and you're playing a lot of dug-in holds and ankles of just being absolutely sideswiped by a C4 from an errant bit of information, or by just somebody with a bit of an angle. It's something we've seen across all the games so far. So IQ, although there's always this sort of conversation of she could probably have a little bit more to be a little bit more impactful, might see a fair prevalence in Bank.
Might indeed, especially if the information game is what is going on. Of course, the Valkyrie is open, can be used. Has been used as well. I believe there's also the buff now from the IQ, where you can just ping through by scanning. So it also enables the rest of your team to deal with the utility from inside, even if the IQ is outside. So New Zealand is just scanning. No, Black Eyes seem to be on top of the ceiling. Will be getting himself back towards the rest of the team because they have a clear to push, they have a clear to execute. But first they need to get that top floor under control.
Rise is going to pull back, not going to take that fight too directly, and instead just sort of sit on the mantle of the top of the white stairs. Now, as they swing their way around and pull themselves slightly further and further back, just causing as much of a nuisance as possible, as some of these cross angles are going to get caught off. This puts them in a bit of a tricky situation, as that is sort of the spine and the backbone of this hole. That's why they have that opening, and that extension means you don't need to directly be in a lot of the firefight. It doesn't mean it's over, but it does mean it becomes a little bit tougher to go for any rotations. They've now got to see if they can keep a hold of the top of the staircase, because if that falls, well, then the rest of that will topple.
Nitro was tossed out early, wasn't able to find anybody, just 2 left on the side of Vitality of the 3 they were carrying. And Shiro able to get a lot of information out on this verticality that is currently created. There's no one on the sides. We have 1 in the basement, we have 3 around the open area. As soon as BDS realized this, they might be able to make use of it. There we go, there's a free kill for LMs to come in. The Banshee, however, will close before LMs is going to be able to shoot it, and that means that it will stay there for now. Hatch opened up, as you can see, there's a player below. Could use a C4, maybe, not quite sure. Open area, just one of the C4s also has been used by Demute. 40 seconds are left for the execute, and BDS, well, they can just basically run up the site because they are already on the site. Just need to be careful for any of these Nitros potentially to come out.
They cleared all the space they needed. BB fights back, but it's a post-plant situation without the verticality and without that credence to move earlier on. Covered by the audio of the flashes, they didn't quite make their way around. Rafal gets one more back as the first 15 seconds passes on the diffuser. BB finally finds a way back into the site, suffers through the Aruni gate, and suddenly there's only one body left. Cactus, yeah. A double for Shaiko there, and Cactus has to go the long way around. 20 seconds, 4 bodies to get through. There is pretty much an angle and idea that we're about to head into a 5-1 here, and as we find ourselves closer and closer to that 7-second mark, the hop doesn't last much longer. Shaiko, I said he was in a bit of a tear at the beginning, and he has responded with more of a tear and a rip and absolute decimation across this bank so far. Yeah. 5-1, BDS.
Definitely so. He's really showing Vitality who's awake here today. They're able to pick up quite a bunch of kills. And Shaiko, well, he rips it open himself again here. 2 really coming through in the main stairs, and after that just cleans it up as well. Not quite sure how many kills he will be, and of course we've had a bit of a rehost to come through, but wouldn't be surprised if he's far over 10 already.
Now as we open on Staff Room and Open Area, we get a taste of the BDS's defense. To be fair to Vitality, so far I believe we've generally seen more success from the attacks of teams. It's seemingly one of those things where there's a little bit more space, a little bit more drive from the attackers. They seem to be able to punish, and the defenders are the ones that are having to play a little bit of a learning game on New Bank so far. It's tested theories, and, you know, they're never more tested than at the start when they need to be refined.
Alright, BDS on that defense. Let's see if they started off a bit stronger than Vitality did. And, well, if they started off a bit stronger than Vitality did, that means they're winning the game. So, that is currently what we're looking forward to. Will BDS close it in the next 2? Or is Vitality going to be able to turn this indeed into an attack side of map? Something we have seen in our previous game as well that we casted, which was game 2 of the night. Of course, the other game was a bit of a blowout from Na'Vi. It was a difficult one to really put up on what side it now eventually seemed to be.
Curious to see just how the Vitality attack comes together, if they're going to go for a bit of a later push here or see if they can do some damage early on. The Castle and Narini extension there across Tellers, they're really trying to keep a hefty hold on the middle floor of this. They've got some semblance of an idea of the hold above, but otherwise they're confident with the central floor and the basement itself. And Vitality, they're seemingly aware of this. They're looking to see if they can drive anyone out of this Teller side first, and I guess minimize the amount of total space before they try and get a bit of a catch. P4 is above. He's going to start putting the pressure on vertically here, but there's always the concern of those C4s I talked about before.
It is 2 Nitros that are available. It's actually one of the Grismonds that go off as soon as P4 opens up, so I'm going to know exactly where he is now. Able to take out the Mute Jammers, however, which allowed the drones to come in and try and feed a bit more information. You can see already BDS is trying to fall away from the side. It's exactly what Vitality did as well. You lose that top floor control, will be used by the Buck or the Sledge to start opening up. And as soon as that happens, well, it is unsafe for you to be in that position. So, as Vitality now did the exact same thing that BDS did before. The question is BDS capable of responding to a better norm than Vitality was? A drop quickly comes through from the hatch. The top floor seems to be fully under control, but the hatches need to be opened up to create extra rotation possibilities. And Vitality now decide to extend their hold and their take all the way up to the open area. B4 doesn't know, I believe he spots someone out there, but needs to be careful that he doesn't get his head taken off of him.
That's it. He just saw the edge of Shaiko, who's pulled themselves as close to the printer window as possible to hope that he doesn't get dropped from above. There's always the danger of a Sledge with those grenades. They might be able to get a bit of a cheeky roll. The bars aren't in their favor to get it the right direction, but still a lucky bounce and a bit of ingenuity can sometimes lead to an easy pick-off. Lems buried at the bottom of blue, waiting for potentially some semblance of pressure, but with only 30 seconds left, there's only so much time that Vitality have to try to actually implement their way onto the site. With every player still standing, they might try and clear a little bit of a window and a pocket of space, as we just saw BDS do on their final attack, but otherwise they still seem a little bit lost in the water. Putting those X-Kairos on a wall that cannot be destroyed as of yet. Rise is toying with the idea of putting the pressure on here. They're covering Alebs around the back, who swings, gets dropped suddenly. There's only 2 players left for their side on the push. Shinka rotates round and suddenly drawn away from the fight on the opposite side. Finds 1, finds not quite 2. The spray of the pistol doesn't quite connect, and there it is on the back door. Playday puts his name at the end of this kill feed.
Manages to pick up the final one there, and that means it's going to be match point for BDS already. Going into round number 8, they have the opportunity to close it out here. However, one of their sites has been locked. They have the opportunity to go to the top floor, to Tellers, or to Lockers. And Lockers it will be for now. Probably will be locked in as well. 3 seconds left at the Chunker coming out. And I can kind of understand of why, because the issue we have been seeing is, of course, the default plant. You open up, you go in backwards, you start planting by the pixel, and of course the Tachanka has a little bit more utility than the smoke. You can bounce it back on for a couple more Molotovs or Shumikas, then you have smoke canisters. So if that one spot is directly the spot where Vitality want to plant, the Tachanka might just as well be the perfect counter to it.
On the same side of that, you also still have Mira. Mira who, you know, I'm assuming for people's ranked games, if they ever do actually let Bank get through, which to be fair, it often doesn't, Mira is closely followed by a lot of teams because it used to be the common ban. It used to be the one that a lot of teams removed. It makes things tricky for this exact push in this plant. The attempt on the reverse on the back was pretty much always countered by either that or the smoke in gold that could sort of cheekily throw them in the close corner, and it would just go over and go for the full stretch here. But with all the other options and the hard destruction and the operators we've had grown since then, Mira might see herself kind of only really played here, but it's an option now. That extension is going to become a lot more commonplace than it used to be.
It's fun to see that Mira is no longer going to be a 100% pick rate on many of the sites, on many of the maps, due to the fact that there's so many alternatives and so many different ways to play at this very moment. But it, of course, cannot go. You cannot say that she is not a useful operator. What we see here is BDS put up sort of a double mirror window setup. One all the way in the back of the lockers can look through the one that is going into servers, or CCTV rather. Might be to watch the drop, might be to see them come in. or to guide Rafal to get the Shumika Molotovs into the right spot. We do know, though, is that Vitality is quite quick currently on clearing out that top floor. Realize there's going to be no roamers on floor 2. They're heading over to floor 1 now, with Rise, of course, checking out the server stairs. That seems clear. Needs to be taken control of quickly if the server stack is also clear, and that seems to be the case. So surely one of these Vitality members will quickly head into that position, whereas the rest actually is... That's a bit of a waste of X-Carros there from Cactus,
Yeah.
but either way, we'll be able to open up all the hatches nonetheless. I was going to say, the rest of Vitality seems to be going for a vault take, whereas it is just Rise for now that is looking to go into from the servers.
Wants to draw some attention, wants to pull some focus away, and to be fair, with how stacked all of this is on the other side for the hold here, it makes sense for Vitality to try and drive their way in on what is a new take, what is a new possibility. This wasn't something that was easy, I think is the easiest way of putting it. You would drop into what was generally an entire death box of a firefight. Here, you have a little bit more of a stretch, a little bit more of a space, and with the slight rotation and moving to where those hatches are, it also allows you to have a bit more of the pressure that you can apply around the vault door towards the back of the site, even if you want to bury yourself through. It used to just be a cavalier single player would drop down the elevator hatch and suddenly get a couple of kills by surprise, and now it's something you can really build a good balanced attack on.
So it seems to become a bit of a split. We probably have the diffuser from above on the CCTV hatch. We have one in the elevator already, it's Bibu, and one that is thinking about dropping into the vault, but there's nitro cells everywhere. Not quite sure if they're going to be coming out. I believe Playday is in the middle of a gunfight with the player that drops into the vault, whereas Bibu still holding off and gets the kill. That's the entry into Rafal. Cactus will be dropping in. It's 2 men now inside of the vault.
Cactus, there he is, able to get one more on the backside of Gold. There's a body down inside the site. They went for the new take, and it's looking pretty good on them. There's the spray around. One more for the record, and a flawless is what they're able to lock out here. I mean, may as well start the return to potential grace with a flawless, but there's still a lot of rounds ahead of you.
Still a lot of rounds indeed, and round number 9 will be coming in soon. Question is, will BDS run it back? Will they go to the lockers again, or are they going to be going for a different side? It seems like they will be. Of course, now we'll be aware of the take that just happened, and, well, what are the odds that Vitality is going to be using the same take twice in a row? Which means that their current setup might be better suited for it. RX will be brought out, potentially to put up a bit of an extra roam, waste some time, go and drop those hatches and climb up again, where, of course, the 6-bit comes in. The Valkyrie will be brought. Extra information to try and figure out where these players will be located.
Being defused by attackers.
Now, a double down underneath with a bit of a change, but still, I guess we'll see the test of, is it something they'll be a little bit more attuned and aware for? They're prepping with the idea of, let's see if we can lock off some of the control here and maybe keep a bit of an eye towards the vault side and towards those hatches, because they were seemingly still a bit surprised. There was a body deep in garage, hoping and holding out for somebody to go for a rotate round. There, they were, I guess, in a sense, set up for traditional, and traditional never really came, and I'm curious to see if they're ready to respond. These are the lessons that we're learning, these teams as well, as we go into it.
For sure, indeed. Now we do have that top floor roam, at least for the start of the round. I'm not sure, of course, if LMs will stay there. I would hope so, because a lot of time was gained by Vitality by getting these drones into the right positions. You want to take out as many of them as possible and then fall back towards the safe ground. Make them re-drone everything in that case, and that's a gunfight. That's an opening kill. Rise will go down. LMs picks him up. The aggression, drop the hatch most likely, instantly gets the kill. And there's going to be the Ash taken care of. That is going to be a bunch of explosives less you have to worry about.
I mean, I said, are we going to see a little bit more of a response? And yeah, there was a little bit more of a response. The swing round, the instant aggro that was able to really put a bit of damage in. To be fair, the way we saw Rise go for the push last time, they were the single body on the backside of the site. So it's just going to take a little bit of an adaptation. There's worse people to lose at this point in time, but still, when you are on match point and you know how many rounds you have ahead of you, to lose anybody is a massive blow, especially to see a more confident BDS have that awful habit they have when you're their opponents of, they want to end this game now.
The Vitality team is staying together as a bit of a pack here. P4 doing his job and opening up these rotations, allowing the team to quickly go from point A to point B. no matter where it may be. And as the hatches have been opened up, surely we're going to go for another hatch drop here. It's definitely looking like it, whilst Cactus still working and opening up all these hatches. Of course, there is no pressure coming up to the first floor. The members of BDS are just standing by there. Now, see that Claymore? That is actually encounter of the Oryx. So in case there would be an Oryx and he's like, well, I can just jump up here because they're dropping into the vault, he's going to get blown up as soon as he picks his face out. So it's a very interesting play there. But of course, the Oryx is long gone. It's the Valkyrie that is coming out. And well, they are wasting currently on the Aruni laser gates.
Saw an ADS get burnt, but there's a couple more stacked around just behind the box to keep them safe in that corridor, which, to be fair, is the vein to the heart of the vault and the back of the hold. Here the sprays start to come through, and as we find ourselves at the 40-second left mark, it's that dangerous moment for Vitality, where they're still trying to formulate their execute with the man missing there, eyeing up the same or a similar vault drop that they went through before. We can already see that they're in the elevator, but this time the smoke canisters are stopping Bibu get the hold on the angle that they had before another canister, and Bibu is entirely lost, as is a diffuser that's blown up posthumously. The spray comes through, but it's Playday that locks it off, and suddenly it's only the man locked in the vault with a canister in front of him. And, well, he's just got to sort of wait for it to pass. And even then, out of time, can't catch the diffuser and get there in time. BDS! Well, they were here to put a mark on the board, and they did it with all the power we sort of expected.
The GGs are being called. Another 7-2 to come in here. It's BDS to take the victory. And they'll take the shared first place with Na'Vi, of course, who managed to get a 7-2 victory on Bank themselves against G2 Esports. Well played by them. They managed to adapt to the push that was about to come in as Vitality tried to go for the hatch drop twice. This time, double the amount of guns were aimed towards the spot. And with that, it is going to be the end of the fourth game, the end of the French Derby, as Milos would say. 3 points will go to BDS, as you see pop up right behind me. And surely Emmy will follow shortly after. I hope.
Mate,
There you go.
there I am. Wait, I can give you bunny ears. Can I?
Wait,
No,
wait,
you're a
maybe
little
if
bit
I'm...
too far away. There you go.
There you go. Got the bunny ears.
Technology is amazing.
It is amazing. But you know what? Let's toss it back over to the desk.
I miss both of you so very much. Well, here we are.